Think like a millionaire before the money arrives. Powerful motivational speech inspired by Napoleon Hill.
What if I told you that the wealth you seek isn't out there? It's already inside of you waiting to be claimed? Not someday, not after your first big break, not when the market shifts or the promotion lands or the investor says yes. Now, because the truth is, wealth doesn't begin in your wallet, it begins in your mind. Before the car, the house, the company, before the applause, before the first dollar ever showed up, there was a thought, a seed, a decision. And that decision was made in silence long before the world cared. Every millionaire you admire, every titan of industry you study, they weren't lucky and they weren't chosen. They were aligned, internally calibrated, unshakably decided. They began to think like millionaires before the money ever arrived. And that is the difference between those who wait and those who win. Mindset. You see the poor chase money, the rich attract it. Not because they're better, not because they're born different, but because they've built a different operating system and inner world so sharp, so focused, so disciplined that the outer world has no choice but to reflect it. Your bank account is a shadow. Your reality is a mirror. And your thoughts? They are the sculptor. What you dwell on, you dwell in. That quiet loop running through your subconscious. The stories you whisper to yourself when no one's around, that is your future. If you think like a beggar, you will stay one. If you think like a creator, you will become one. The mind is not just a vessel, it is a magnet, and it will always bring you back to what you believe you deserve. So I ask you, what are you thinking about when you're alone? What are you rehearsing every morning when you open your eyes, scarcity or strategy, fear or fire? You cannot hold lack in your heart and expect abundance in your hands. Belief. Henry Ford said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." But let me tell you what he didn't say. That simple sentence is not just motivational fluff. It is spiritual law. It's the difference between building an empire and settling for scraps. Because belief is not just some feeling, it's a weapon. And the most dangerous man in the room is not the one with the money, he's the one with the belief. The one who has already seen it in his mind. The one who has already shaken hands with his future. The one who walks through this life with the calm certainty of someone who already knows how the story ends. Belief is power. It bends reality. It rewrites timelines. It breaks rules. But belief cannot be borrowed. You cannot watch others rise and hope their fire lights yours. You must burn from within. You must take every limiting thought, every whisper of doubt, every scar of your past and set it ablaze. You must choose to believe even when there's no evidence, especially when there's no evidence, because that's when the real test begins. Clarity. You don't become wealthy by accident. You don't trip and fall into abundance. You craft it. You forge it. And it starts with clarity. Not vague wishes, not soft intentions, not "I want to be rich someday." No, it starts with specifics, precision. Andrew Carnegie said it himself. You must know exactly what you want. If you do not, you will never get it. Do you want freedom or fame? Do you want money or mission? Do you want status or significance? Write it down. See the number, picture the lifestyle. Feel the clothes, the temperature, the view from your window. Smell the wood of your office desk. Hear the quiet hum of your success in motion. Because the mind doesn't move toward fog, it moves toward focus. Vagueness is the language of mediocrity. Clarity is the voice of kings. And when you speak clearly to the universe, it listens. When you define it, you begin to design it. When you stop asking for permission to want more, the world stops questioning your worth. So carve your vision into stone. And don't you dare apologize for dreaming big. Because dreaming big is not arrogance, it's obedience to your potential. Vision. Walt Disney walked through a swamp and saw a kingdom. Tesla saw wireless energy before electricity was common. You think they had support? You think people clapped? No. They were ridiculed, dismissed, mocked. But vision is not a group activity. Vision is lonely, it's brutal, it's quiet, but it is necessary, because if you cannot live in your future mentally, you will never touch it physically. You must become the actor, the director, and the audience of your dream all before anyone else believes the show is real. Walk through your future as if it already exists. Sit at the table, sign the deal, shake the hand, breathe the air of that room, and when doubt creeps in, and it will, you return to that vision like a soldier returns to war. Because the war is not out there, the war is within, and vision is your weapon, purpose. But make no mistake, money is not the purpose. It is a tool, a magnifier, a mirror. If your vision is rooted in ego, you will crumble. If it's rooted in status, you will burn out. But if it's rooted in purpose, true soul-rattling purpose, then nothing can stop you. Ford didn't build cars to get rich. He built them so the working man could own one. Edison didn't chase light for profit. He chased it for the millions still sitting in the dark. Purpose is your fuel. Without it, discipline feels like punishment. But with it, discipline becomes devotion. And that devotion, that fire, that willingness to suffer for something greater, that is what makes you unstoppable. So ask yourself, what is your reason? What would make you move when you're tired? What would make you show up when no one claps? What would make you risk your name, your comfort, your pride? Find it, feed it, because that is your millionaire fuel. And without it, you're just chasing zeros. With it, you are building a legacy. Discipline is not the grind, it is the gift. It is the hidden fire that builds champions in the dark while the world sleeps. While others scroll, you study. While others delay, you decide. While others binge comfort, you build conviction. The world worships talent, but legacy is forged by those who show up when they don't feel like it. Discipline is not about intensity once. It's about consistency forever. It's waking up at 5 a.m. because your future family deserves options. It's skipping distractions because your empire needs your focus. It's reading, writing, refining every single day while the world tells you to take it easy. Easy doesn't build empires. Easy builds average. And you weren't born to be average. Your mind was designed to solve problems, to dominate challenges, to climb impossible walls with blistered hands and a bulletproof heart. But here's the secret the world won't tell you. Discipline isn't hard when you're aligned. When your vision is clear and your purpose burns, discipline becomes instinct. It becomes the way you breathe. You stop looking for motivation and start moving from mission, because you know every action you take is building momentum. And momentum is how the avalanche of success begins. Action. You don't become who you're meant to be by thinking about it. You act, you move, you make the call, write the page, launch the product, show up even when you're terrified. Edison didn't wait for the perfect blueprint, he failed 10,000 times. Carnegie didn't wait for acceptance, he built over 100 millionaires from scratch. They acted, they executed. They trusted the vision enough to bet on themselves. You don't rise by being ready, you rise by acting before you are. The world doesn't reward hesitation, it doesn't reward ideas, it rewards movement. Execution is the currency of success, not intention, not potential. Execution. You can have all the affirmations, all the planners, all the mentors in the world, but if you don't move, you don't grow. If you don't leap, you don't fly. The man who acts will always outrun the one who overthinks. The woman who moves will always outshine the one who waits. This isn't about being fearless. It's about acting despite fear. It's about taking the shot when your hands are shaking. It's about speaking the truth when your voice trembles. Because courage doesn't come before the action, it comes after. And that courage becomes confidence. And that confidence becomes momentum. And that momentum becomes identity. Identity, you are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are not the labels, the doubt, the fear. You are what you repeatedly do. You are what you refuse to tolerate. You are what you demand from yourself when no one's watching. So stop waiting for someone to tell you you're ready. Start becoming the person who doesn't need permission. Millionaires don't wait to feel like millionaires. They think, speak, act, and breathe as if it's already done. They live from the end. They make every decision as if the future is already real. And by doing that, they make it real. You must become so internally aligned, so rooted in belief that no setback can touch you. The world will doubt you. The world will test you. But if your identity is set in steel, you cannot be shaken. Repetition is the key. Repeat your vision, repeat your standard, repeat your values. Every single day, until it becomes who you are. You don't need to fake it. You need to program it. Your brain is software. Install wealth, install power, install resilience, install leadership. Because the world doesn't need another version of what already exists. It needs the full force of who you were born to be, unapologetically, unshakably, undeniably. Gratitude, and in the midst of this pursuit, never forget. Gratitude is not weakness. Gratitude is the secret amplifier of abundance. When you're grateful for where you are, you invite more to arrive. It doesn't mean you settle. It means you see the value in the process. You see the gift in the grind. You understand that the struggle is sharpening you. You know that the pressure is not a punishment, it's preparation. Gratitude turns hardship into honor. It turns failure into feedback. It turns waiting into worship. And when you can be grateful in the valley, you become unstoppable on the mountain. Because a grateful mind is never empty. It's overflowing. And that overflow creates more. It attracts better. It builds faster. So stop waiting to be grateful. Be grateful now, right now. Not for what you have, but for what you're becoming. Because who you're becoming, that's the real treasure. Adaptability and resilience. You will fail. You will fall. You will question if it's worth it. And that's okay. Because resilience doesn't mean you never break. It means you always rebuild. Adaptability doesn't mean you never struggle. It means you adjust your sails and keep moving forward when the storm hits. You pivot. You learn. You evolve. Every setback is a classroom. Every disappointment is a blueprint. Failure is feedback in disguise. Don't run from it. Absorb it. Transmute it. Use it. Because while the average mind gets bitter, the millionaire mind gets better. You will be tested. People will quit on you. Money will dry up. Plans will fall apart. But the ones who rise, they are the ones who never stop building. They build when it's raining. They build when it's lonely. They build when the world says it's over. Because their foundation isn't made of convenience. It's made of conviction. They know that life will never be predictable, but greatness will always be possible. Learning. The moment you stop learning, you start decaying. Growth is not a phase, it's a requirement. Every great mind you admire, they were students first. Obsessive students. Lincoln read books by candlelight. Da Vinci filled thousands of pages with questions. Every master was once a disaster, and every disaster became a master by refusing to stop learning. Books, mentors, failures, silence, use them all. The greatest investment you will ever make is not in stocks, real estate, or crypto. It's in your mind. Because when your mind becomes unstoppable, your results become inevitable. Now listen closely, this is where most people stop. This is the crossroads where average turns back and the extraordinary go forward. This is where the noise of the world screams, be realistic, just be grateful, settle. But you weren't born for survival. You were born for significance. You were designed not to conform, but to conquer. So burn the backup plan, delete the escape route, tear down the fence between where you are and where you know you belong. Because here's the truth the world never says out loud. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. So if you want abundance, become abundant. If you want wealth, become wealth. If you want greatness, become it in thought, word, energy, and discipline. Not someday, not when the money arrives, now, because the mind of a millionaire doesn't wait for results. It creates them. It moves through rejection like a ghost through walls. It sees criticism as confirmation. It greets setbacks with a smirk and says, that's all you've got, because that mind, it has already won internally. And when the inner victory is complete, the outer reward is guaranteed. But only for the one who persists. You must persist. Persist when your hands are trembling. Persist when your voice shakes. Persist when the money isn't there, when the audience is silent, when the path feels dark. Because the light is not at the end of the tunnel. The light is inside you. And when you walk toward your vision with relentless clarity, unshakable belief, and violent commitment, that light grows. And suddenly the world that once doubted you begins to shift. Doors open. Opportunities appear. Not by magic, but by momentum. Momentum created by the one decision that started it all. I will think like a millionaire before the money arrives. That is the difference. That is the secret. Not strategy, not luck, not timing. It's the identity you choose to embody before the evidence shows up. It's the way you breathe when no one believes in you. It's the standard you hold in silence. It's the fire you feed in the dark. So feed it, fan it, turn that ember into an inferno. Let your thoughts become weapons. Let your focus become armor. Let your vision become law. Because the money is not the goal. The goal is becoming the kind of person who could build it, manage it, multiply it, and give it away without ever being owned by it. The goal is to become unshakable. So from this moment forward, walk like it's already yours. Think like the future version of you is watching every move. Because they are. They are waiting for you to rise. They are waiting for you to decide. They are waiting for you to become. And when you do, when you finally step into the power that's always been inside you, the money will arrive. But by then, you won't even need it to feel wealthy, because you'll already know the richest place on earth is not the bank, it's the mind. So think rich, speak rich, move rich, give rich, live rich. Think like a millionaire, and watch the world bend to your vision, because it always has, and it always will. And now you stand at the edge, at the cliff between who you've been and who you must become. Behind you is everything safe, everything familiar, everything small, and ahead of you is everything you've ever dreamed. But here's the catch. No one can carry you across this line. No mentor, no podcast, no book, only you. You and the fire inside you. The fire that whispers, you were meant for more. The fire that refuses to be extinguished by circumstance, rejection, or fear. This is the moment when the world wants you to flinch, to fold, to retreat. But this is also the moment when the chosen rise, when the committed double down, when the millionaire mind roars back louder than every voice of doubt and says, I decide my destiny. Because destiny is not a place, it's a posture. It's the way you show up when the odds say you shouldn't. It's the way you move when the ground shakes beneath you. It's the way you stand up again and again, even when no one claps, even when the account is empty, even when the silence is deafening. Because deep down you know something sacred, that nothing is more powerful than a mind made up. Not the economy, not the critics, not your past. And so you rise not because it's easy, but because it's yours. Because the dream demands it. Because the vision won't let you sleep. Because settling is betrayal and average is treason. You are not here to pay bills and die. You are here to build legacies, shift bloodlines, and turn impossible into inevitable. This world bows not to credentials or connections. It bows to conviction. Conviction that you are already wealthy in identity, in spirit, and belief. Conviction that says, I don't chase wealth, I create it. I attract it. I align with it. Conviction that makes you dangerous in a world addicted to doubt. So let them doubt you. Let them mock the way you dream. Let them laugh. And while they laugh, you build. You sharpen, you expand, you prepare the table for a feast they said would never come, because one day soon they won't be able to ignore it. One day soon the world will look at you, the one they called crazy, unrealistic, obsessed, and ask, how did you do it? And you'll smile not from ego, but from memory, because you'll remember the nights you sat alone and still believed. You'll remember the days you had nothing except vision. You'll remember the moment you whispered to yourself, I will think like a millionaire before the money arrives. And that thought, that decision, that silent contract with your destiny, it changed everything. Not instantly, but inevitably. Because the most powerful shift in the universe is not when money hits your hand, it's when purpose hits your heart. And now you know the treasure was never the millions. It was who you became to earn them. So go become, go build, go rise. Go think like a millionaire until reality has no choice but to catch up, because it will. It always does. And when it does, when the money arrives, when the numbers in your account finally reflect the fire that's been burning inside you for years, don't stop. Because true millionaires, the ones who live with depth and not just digits, they don't reach the top just to rest. They reach the top so they can pull others up. They build not just for comfort, but for contribution. They rise not to escape the world, but to change it. Because wealth without wisdom is a prison with velvet walls. But wealth with purpose, that becomes a force of nature. And when you become that force, you start moving like thunder in every room you enter. You speak and people feel it in their bones. Not because you're rich, but because you're real. Because you fought for every inch of belief. Because you've been broke, bruised, rejected, laughed at, and you still showed up with fire in your chest and vision in your eyes. That's what people follow. Not the car, not the clothes, not the success. They follow the presence of someone who built it all first, in silence, then in substance. And one day, when the spotlight finds you, when the platform expands, when the world finally asks you to share your secret, tell them the truth. Tell them it wasn't talent, it wasn't luck, it wasn't shortcuts or schemes. It was one simple decision, the decision to think like a millionaire before the money ever arrived, to think like it was already yours, to live like it was already real, to act like your future self was watching every step and refusing to let you quit. That mindset, that identity, that inner code, that was the real fortune. And now as you stand in the life you once only saw in your mind, remember this: you did not find the path, you forged it, with blood, with breath, with brutal honesty and divine fire. And now that you've arrived, you do what real millionaires do. You build more, you give more, you become more, not for applause, not for praise, but because this is who you are now. This is your new normal. This is your new standard. This is what it means to master yourself before you master the world. This is what it means to build a mind so strong, so anchored, so wealthy that no storm can shake it. So from this moment on, let your every step echo this truth: you became rich long before the world saw it. And long after the money fades, long after the headlines die, long after the applause is gone, the mindset remains, the fire remains, the legacy remains. Because when you think like a millionaire before the money arrives, you don't just change your life, you change the world. And that is wealth. So now it's your turn. No more waiting, no more wishing, no more lying to yourself that tomorrow will be better if you don't change today. This is the line. This is the second your identity shifts, not incrementally, not gradually, but all at once. Right here, right now. This is the second you stop outsourcing your power to circumstance. This is the second you stop renting belief from others and start owning your destiny. Because the truth is, you were never chasing money. You were chasing alignment. You were chasing the moment when your inner world finally matched your outer one. And now that you understand, now that it's burned into your spirit, you walk differently. You speak differently. You no longer try to convince people. You no longer shrink to make others comfortable. You no longer tolerate mediocrity in thought, word, or standard. Because a millionaire mindset is not just about abundance, it's about alignment. Alignment with discipline. Alignment with excellence. Alignment with the boldest version of yourself, the one who doesn't flinch, doesn't fold, doesn't flee. You are no longer the same, because the greatest transformation is not when the money hits. It's when the mission hits. When the mission becomes more important than your mood. When your vision is louder than your doubt. When your decisions reflect where you're going, not where you've been. That's the moment the universe starts moving with you. Because you're not begging anymore. You're declaring. You're not hoping. You're creating. You're not waiting. You're becoming. And if you stay in this mindset, this rare frequency of power, the world has no choice but to rearrange itself around you. People will say you're lucky. They'll say it happened fast. But you'll know the truth, that it happened the second you stopped thinking like someone who needed success and started thinking like someone who commands it. This is the path, not the easy one, not the popular one, but the only one that leads to greatness with peace in your soul. So breathe it in. Let it take root. Let it echo in your bones. I am already wealthy in thought, in action, in spirit, and the world is simply catching up. That is your code now. That is your truth now. And no one can take it from you. Not because you earned it, but because you became it. And once you become it, the money, the success, the impact, it all becomes inevitable. So rise. Rise into your power. Rise into your clarity. Rise into the unstoppable, undeniable, unshakable version of you that's been waiting this entire time. Millionaire is not just a title, it's a mindset. And now it's yours. Own it, live it, and never look back. And as you walk forward from this moment, as the echoes of these words settle into your spirit, know this. This wasn't just a motivational speech. This was a transfer of power. A reminder of what you've always carried but perhaps forgotten. A recalibration of your soul. Because somewhere deep inside you, beneath the noise, the fear, the distractions, was always the voice that whispered, "I was made for more." And now, that voice is no longer a whisper. It's a roar. You don't need proof. You are the proof. You don't need validation. You are the validation. You don't need to become rich to think like a millionaire. You need to think like a millionaire to become rich. Because the greatest riches of all are invisible. The ability to wake up without fear, to walk with unwavering self-respect, to pursue a vision so massive it makes small minds tremble, to smile at obstacles because you have already survived worse, and to carry a level of peace that no amount of money could ever buy because you know you built yourself from the inside out, with no guarantees, no handouts, no applause, just faith and fire. And now you are not just walking into a better life. You are walking into the person you were always meant to be, a person who doesn't hope, but declares, who doesn't follow, but leads, who doesn't settle, but shapes destiny with their bare hands. Let the world watch. Let them wonder how you moved from nothing to everything. And when they ask, tell them the truth. You stopped playing small. You stopped thinking poor. You stopped waiting for the money to arrive. And instead, you started thinking like the person who could call it in. Because the universe doesn't respond to wishes. It responds to certainty. And now that certainty lives inside you. So go build, go lead, go live. And when the day comes that you stand atop the life you once only saw in dreams, you will not be surprised, because you've already been here before in your mind, in your soul, in your decisions. The world just finally caught up. And that is what it means to think like a millionaire before the money arrives. Now go finish what you started. The throne is waiting, the crown is yours, and the world is watching.